is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are St. Louis.
6 weeks to go. 6 teams in the mix. Only 2 teams can advance. The Cardinals and Mets are both trying to get back to the playoffs, but they'll likely have to do it as the wild card. The division races are almost out of reach. The Cardinals are built on power at the plate. They've become one of the best home run hitting teams in franchise history, and any St. Louis slugger can square up any pitch, anytime. The Mets, meanwhile, are built on power pitching. DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Familia. The Mets have struggled at the plate, but as long as they're pitching well, their playoff hopes are still alive. 10 years ago, these 2 teams got together for one of the most memorable playoff series in NL history. Today, these 2 teams begin the first of a 3-game series at Busch. And with 6 weeks to go, time is running out. It all begins at Busch tonight, and it's only on Fox Sports Midwest.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And Cardinals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Back at home, kicks off a nice homestand after a long road trip. And tonight, it's the first of 3, the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hayes is here. That's the Cardinals Hall of Famer, Jim Edmonds. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Delighted to have you with us as we get you set for baseball. And Jimmy, this Cardinals team is hitting home run after home run.
Yeah, they are. The offense is coming from places that weren't not expected, from Jerko and Brandon Moss. You see right here, guys that were brought in to just do the job, mostly off the bench. A lot of injuries thrust you into the starting lineup at times, and look what they've been doing this year.
Jaime Garcia gets the call here in game number 1. Jonathan Neese will go for the Mets. Moss and Jerko, that combination putting up big numbers here in 2016. Both in the lineup tonight. Baseball is coming up. Garcia gets the call tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's our Kia in the driver's seat. Jaime loves in his career pitching at this ballpark. Recently, 3-0 in his last 3 home starts with a 1.25 ERA. A pair of lefties here tonight, Jaime Garcia, Jonathan Nice. It's the New York Mets, the St. Louis Cardinals. This regular season starting to come to a close. Important games, and it all starts tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Rain is in the area, but we hope it stays away. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Jim Hayes is here. The Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And there's a look at Terry Collins, the manager of the Mets, as they went to the World Series a year ago and still in the hunt for the wild card. It'll be Jose Reyes, the switch hitter, to lead it off, followed by Asdrubal Cabrera. Yoenis Cespedes just came off the DL, and he's had 3 home runs. Wilmer Flores, Jay Bruce, TJ Rivera, Justin Ruggiano, Travis d'Arnaud, and Jonathan Nice. Jaime Garcia pitching on 6 days rest. Earned the win last Tuesday. Gave up 5 runs over 5+. Cardinals beat the Astros that night 8-5. He now has won 3 straight. Very good here at home with an ERA just above 3. The first pitch to Reyes. And we're underway. The first of 3 in all 3 games right here on Fox Sports Midwest. First time around, Jose Reyes was the everyday shortstop, table setter for this Mets lineup. A little bit older. Had issues with Toronto, had off the field problems in Colorado, and winds up back in New York. And here we are back in St. Louis, and this will make everybody happy because it's the most commonly asked question I get. When are they going to cut the arch in the grass in the outfield? It's cut, so stop asking.
It's a beautiful sight from up here, my friend.
It is. 3-1 to count.
got the arch up high, the arch down low. Just happy to be up here in the booth with you watching a big league ball game.
And it's a leadoff walk to Reyes, who has 5 stolen bases this year. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Jaime Garcia. The fastball moves all over the place. Good changeup, cutter, and the curve. Doesn't throw that very often, only 2.6% of the time.
Just watching that first at bat right there, already worried about Garcia and his location and that sinker that have kind of gotten accustomed to, and wasn't much of a sinker in that first at bat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here if he can get it back together and keep the ball down.
That pitch taken inside, ball 1. Check on Reyes. Cabrera, switch hitter, 13 home runs, only 2 of the 13 from this side of the plate.
Just what you need right now is just a little BP sinker, get him out in front, a little 6-4-3.
Line drive into left field. The first 2 have reached. Again, a pitch that's up.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on right there. You saw Derek Lilliquist looking on, and I'll tell you right away, I mean, you know your pitchers, and you can see that ball's not only up, it's flat with not much sink at all, no sink at all. And watching up here, what I would be looking for right away was, okay, when's he going to get the ball down? Or am I going to have to find out what's wrong? Is something wrong? Is something okay? But definitely has to get back to the sinker, or there'll be some concern a little bit.
Cespedes against left-handed pitching this year. His slugging percentage #1 at .671 in Major League Baseball. So he just came back off the DL. He's played 3 games, 5 for 13 with 3 home runs. Really carried the Mets in a jump start to their offense a season ago. You see the home run since August 1st of last year, 42, just behind Bryant and Nolan Arenado. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Takes a mighty cut, pops it up. Shallow center, backing up Carpenter, and he makes the catch. Big out there. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Pham in left, Grichuk in center, Piscotty is in right. Peralta and Jerko on the left side of the infield, Carpenter and Moss on the right side, and Molina is behind the plate. That's a big out.
It is a big out. You know, he just got off the DL, but sometimes being on the DL works pretty well for a hitter because he can kind of get his strength back, get comfortable, and you really just go up there not trying to do too much. And you see a lot of the better players around the league don't need a whole lot of time to get back on track to really get after it. You know, I mean, it's just like you come back and timing doesn't really leave you after only 2 weeks.
Runners go, throw to third, and not in time. A stolen base for Reyes, his 5th. Cabrera, his 2nd. Aggressive early on by Terry Collins.
Just a really good jump by Jose Reyes. Still got that speed. Really good throw. Yachty just short hopped Johnny enough where Johnny couldn't keep his glove down. Would have had time to throw him out there, but just a little bit of a short hop.
So the first baseman, Brandon Moss, is in. Big gap in right center. That floats in there for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. If you think it's a tight ball game, you're not going to score a lot of runs, you might bring that infield in, even in the first, even with the cleanup hitter. Cardinals did that last time Garcia was on the mound in Houston. But Jonathan Neese has had his issues. That's well hit. Out to deep left. Pham is back at the wall, and it's 3-0 Mets. Home run number 13 for Wilmer Flores. RBIs 37, 38, and 39.
See right here, another ball up in the zone. Got it in, but still up in the zone, and these guys will make you pay. Just like I said, you can tell right away the sinker's not there. Maybe that extra day a little too strong. See the ball up again. I mean, there's definitely some cause for some concern right there when you're watching this game, seeing the ball not getting down in the zone.
Home runs recently an issue here for Jaime Garcia. Breaking ball taken in the dirt. Wilmer Flores, by the way, came in 5th in the National League. Slugging percentage against left-handed pitching at .648. That's on the rise.
I'll tell you, this guy can hit against a left-hander too.
The former Red, Jay Bruce, with New York. Slow start. Hitting just .169. Couple of home runs. He's popped 27 total, though, on the year. The shift is on for Bruce, and the 1-2 pitch by Garcia. Strikeout, and there's 2 away here in the first. Jay Bruce is way out in front of that pitch.
It's a good call by Yachty. You can see really the only sinking action he's had all night has been on the changeups, and he's thrown some really good changeups. And most time lefty, you're not looking for that changeup as a hitter, so that's a really good pitch and a good call by Yachty.
And there's strike 1. TJ Rivera at second base. Neil Walker is on the bereavement list. They picked him up, as you may recall, from the Pittsburgh Pirates for Jonathan Neese, tonight's starter for the Mets. Good changeup again. So as you mentioned, you have that extra day's rest, and sometimes it's an inning or two before you just get the feel back. Almost too strong.
Sometimes that extra day can really cause you to feel too strong, and your ball just doesn't have the natural sink that it normally does.
Back to Garcia, steps and throws.
Really good job by Yachty right there. Maybe recognizing what's going on. A couple changeups and a breaking ball, get him through that inning.
Jonathan Neese and the Mets, a 3-run lead after a half inning. Home run, one swing of the bat. Wilmer Flores, his 13th to put New York on top. Tommy Pham, there he is. He'll lead it off for the Cardinals. And Pham is hitting .256 this year. Stephen Piscotty will bat second, then Matt Carpenter, Moss, Molina, Peralta, Jerko, Grichuk, and Garcia. And there's strike one. Most of those numbers with Pittsburgh this year. Gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, 2 home runs, a couple of walks, and 4 2/3 in his last start Wednesday against the Diamondbacks. Struck out 6 in an eventual loss. Cardinals have homered in 11 straight and 24 total home runs in those 11 games. They're facing a pitcher with the 4th worst home run rate in Jonathan Nice. Breaking ball, that's tapped foul. Here's a 1-2. Let's turn to Jimmy's Toyota key to the game.
Well, Danny, you just made it your key to the game right there. You talked about the power against Jonathan Nice. Bring the power back home and keep rolling. Pretty good road trip, some days off, some fresh legs, some fresh bats. So it'd be good to see them get off to a good start tonight and get back into this ball game.
3-2 pitch, and it's a leadoff walk. Terry Collins is pulling his hair out right now. Been given a 3-run lead, and he walks the leadoff man.
I've seen Terry Collins pull out his hair a lot. He was my former manager in Anaheim, and we didn't have the kind of squad he's got out here, but that hair is a little shorter, a little grayer than I remember it.
We saw the numbers in which he's given up so many home runs, 19 of those by right-handed hitters, as Piscotty lines it out to left, and the catch is made by Cespedes. We've seen Cespedes play all 3 outfield spots, and he's been nursing a sore leg, so they've got him in left. Just a good all-around player.
Pretty good athlete. You can see right there, still moving really well, even though he's got a sore knee. The thing I was watching right there is he caught the ball on the run and just kind of flipped it in with no effort and threw a missile into the cutoff man.
We've seen his arm. It's one of the best in baseball.
It's like a nice shortstop move right there.
Here's Carpenter. Breaking ball and strike one. The numbers, Jimmy, will tell you that Matt Carpenter is a tremendous leadoff man. He loves to hit there. Since he's been moved to the 3rd spot, not hitting at that clip that he has hit at the top spot. So the question is, should he go back there?
I don't know. I think at this time with this team right now, I think you need him as your 3 guy. I think you let him just kind of develop into it. Unless it gets drastic and someone else gets hot, you can move some guys around. But they really need a guy like Matt Holliday out there in the 3-hole. So someone's got to fill his spot.
2 balls and a strike. So Jonathan Nice comes back to the Mets. Was traded in the offseason to the Pirates for Neil Walker. Now back with New York after the Mets lost Matt Harvey for the year. And the uncertainty here down the stretch of Zach Wheeler, Steven Matz, Logan Verrett. They gave up left-hander Antonio Bastardo to Pittsburgh to reacquire Nice. Originally drafted by the Mets in 2005. They employed him for a decade before sending him to Pittsburgh this past offseason. 3-1 to count.
Talked to Terry Collins earlier today. He said they had given up a lot of prospects over the last couple of years, and I think 5 of their starters that they had in AAA, I don't know if it was a year or maybe 2 years ago, are all in the big leagues now. And he said, what if? But what if they didn't make those trades in the past? They wouldn't have been in the World Series last year. So you got to take the good with the bad, and kind of funny having that conversation. I said, well, the St. Louis Cardinals just did exactly what you're going through last year and doing it again this year. You just got to tell your team, like, you know, who wants it? Who wants to be in the lineup? Who wants to stand, you know, step up and get your chance to be an everyday big league player? Well, someone's missing and a lot of guys are hurt.
Brandon Moss, 23 home runs, and the home run ratio, homer every 12.61 at bats. Trumbo, Encarnacion, Jerko on that list, and Chris Davis, the former Brewer, now at the A's. I want you to break down his swing, Jimmy. What do you see out of Brandon Moss and why he gets such great power?
Well, he's a pretty thick guy. I mean, he's got a lot of natural power. Doesn't have a really big swing, and he's got everything. He keeps everything compact. I mean, you don't see, he swings at a lot of balls out of the zone when he struggles, but he really just, you can see the times he hits the balls the furthest, it's not really looking like he's trying to. He's got a pretty good eye at the plate. You can see right there, especially against a left-hander, but just a lot of natural strength. And I'm telling you, it's been what a nice surprise to watch him play this year. You see that list you threw up there, you would have never thought that list would look like that when we were leaving spring training.
You know, Moss, I think you could say, well, he's a year removed from the surgery, so maybe he gets back to the form that he once had. Jerko has come out of left field. And what a second half he's had.
And what kind of power he's got also. He talked about all year, you've been saying what a fastball hitter he is, and when he hits it a long way. And I was watching the highlight the other day when he hit a ball to center field here and just kind of hit it, threw his bat down, and I thought, did he really hit it that far? And it was halfway up the grass, and that's a long way to hit a ball here at this stadium.
Jed Jerko at shortstop tonight. Jim will have some news on Aledmys Diaz coming up. That's Jimmy the Cat Hayes.
I was hoping so.
Would put you on the spot.
Didn't get that assignment.
No, sir. In the dirt, 2-2. Jonathan Neese, the Hyundai pitch arsenal, fastball, cutter, the change, and curveball. Great to see Chris Carpenter back here in St. Louis as he threw out the ceremonial first pitch. It's Hall of Fame weekend coming up. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See, he's trying to get inside right there and trying not to make a mistake at the same time. I think it's tough for sometimes these lefties aren't used to pitching in, and really a spot you want to try to get is underneath Brandon Moss's hands, and you can see the last 2 pitches in a row is really not really wanting to get it in there.
Runners at first and second, 3-2 pitch. Ouch. Foul ball. Well, he's got the protective gear on the right leg, and sometimes even that isn't enough. This may have caught his foot.
Yep.
Sure did.
You see that protective pad is basically covering that ankle bone and just a little flap on the arch, but it's leaving a lot of toes wide open right there.
(3-2). Moss, base hit into right. Here comes Pham. Here comes the throw. It is not in time. Tommy Pham scores with a hard slide, and it's 3-1 Mets.
Tried to keep that sinker inside. He tried to throw it 3 or 4 times in a row, and you can see if you don't get it all the way in there, these guys are going to take a good swing. Even though he got it underneath him a little bit, you see right here, not enough inside. And Brandon Moss does a good job of putting the barrel on the ball, and you see Tommy Pham running hard the whole way here. Was a nice aggressive slide into home plate there too. He wasn't taking anything to chance.
That's going to be it for Neese. His night is through. Something not right. So Jonathan Neese leaves this game. And a day in which the Mets already had put Steven Matz on the DL. Terry Collins is thinking, you got to be kidding me.
Talk about pulling the hair out.
Wow. So this is our Chevy call to the pen. Pitching change for New York. Back in a moment. It's 3-1. Robert Selman out of Santa Monica, California, drafted back in the 2011 Major League Draft by the Mets. 13th round pick. Jonathan Neese, 21 pitches, 10 were strikes as his night comes to a close. I did not see him, grab his arm or his shoulder or anything in that respect. I wonder if it was a leg injury. He was hustling to back up the throw, and maybe he did something there. Regardless, Terry Collins has to go to his bullpen, and when you have these kind of games, boy, it's a nightmare for a manager trying to figure out who can get you through 9 innings.
Yeah, you definitely don't want this situation to come up when you're still in the hunt for the wild card with all the injuries that you have. You just can't keep trying to run fresh blood out there every night. I mean, you got to have your team kind of, it's like you got to have 9 guys that go out there and get through a game, and not what you want to have your pitcher not make it through the first inning.
So they're going to give him all the time that he needs to get loose. He was not throwing, obviously, in the pen. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Cespedes in left. Ruggiano is in center. Jay Bruce is in right. So left and right, those outfielders, 2 strong arms. Reyes is your third baseman. Cabrera is at short. TJ Rivera at second. Wilmer Flores at first, and Travis d'Arnaud is behind the plate. Around the Horn presented by Dobbs. When you think about it too, it's a major league debut. His mind and his heart and his body is racing right now, and oh, by the way, you have to warm up in front of everybody. You got 40,000 people here.
We always talk about it in the locker room. You see something new every day. This is one I don't think I've ever seen. Talk about what kind of strategy a manager will use trying to get his young players out there for their major league debut. You throw them out there the first day, they get called up so they don't have to sit around and worry about it. Maybe a guy like a position player get out there and get his first start the first day he gets out there. How about having to come in the first inning, an injury, and yeah, you said it, go out there and throw 30 pitches in front of everyone, knowing everyone's waiting on you, with your heart racing for your major league debut.
First batter he'll face is Yadier Molina. Tonight's broadcast of baseball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world, on land and on ships at sea. Welcome. Yadi greets him with the drive. Right center. That ball is down all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. Moss is held up at third. and welcome to the big leagues. It's now 3-2.
Tell you what, that's a really nice job by Yachty hitting right here. He's ready to go, knowing he might just try to throw that first pitch over the plate for a strike. You're either going to get a fastball over your head or you're going to get one right down the middle, and Yachty took his chances, got himself a four-seamer right down the middle, and made this a 3-2 ball game.
Brandon Moss had to make sure that wasn't caught. You can see he's limping still a little bit after that foul ball off his foot. Runners at second and third. Base hit could put the Cardinals on top. That pitch taken high. Johnny Peralta swinging one of the hotter bats over the weekend, and back-to-back 3-hit games. First time he has done that since signing his deal with St. Louis over 2 years ago. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 0. One of the reports that has been circulating with the New York media is that Jonathan Neese had been dealing with a sore knee anyway coming into the start, so that maybe explains why he is out. 3 balls, no strikes. A 3-1 to Peralta. Hit out of play. There was even talk coming into the start that the Mets would have skipped Neese, but they wanted to give DeGrom an extra day's rest. We'll see him pitch in this series. This crowd comes alive a little bit here in the bottom of the first. 3-2 the count, 1 out, runners at second and third. Peralta hits it left side. A run will score. That's Moss. And this game is tied. 3-3. RBI for Peralta, number 18. What a road trip it was for Jed Jerko. Home run after home run. 5 of them in the 9 games. 10 driven in by Jerko to add to his incredible second half that he has had.
He has really turned it up a notch in the second half, hasn't he?
It's incredible. 2 outs, runner at second base. Breaking ball and a strike.
It's almost like when we watched Diaz early in the year, when you just, every time you run him out there, he hits the ball in the nose and then he finds the seats and finds the gap. It's like that just natural pop, and every time he hits the barrel of the bat, the ball is jumping all over the yard.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. You can see Molina dancing out there at second base. This young right-hander looks to have pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he does. Good slider, 94, little sink. Threw a couple pitches in warm-ups that really took off.
Here's the 0-2. Close the book, by the way, on Jonathan Neese. 3rd of an inning, 3 runs. Did not allow a hit. No strikeouts, 2 walks. Big gap in left center for Jed Jerko. And the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. The 2-2. And he got him to chase. Picks up his first major league strikeout. Cardinals fell behind 3-0, but in the bottom of the first, here come the Cardinals again. Brandon Moss picking up an RBI. Molina as well. And Johnny Peralta. 3-3. We move to the top of the second. Really almost a new life now for Jaime Garcia. Brand new game.
Brand new game. Hopefully maybe got a little bit of that freshness out of his arm. Got to work on this sinker and start over.
Guys are creatures of habit. We talk about it all the time. Every fifth day they're out there. Then all of a sudden, you're either on short days rest or you get that extra rest, and it's tough. Very tough to make that adjustment. Garcia went on short days rest earlier this year, you may recall, in Miami, and did not last very long in that game. Now what stood out here last couple of hitters is an improving changeup.
Changeup, slider, breaking ball. Can't get the fastball down. He's going to have to use other things to get him through the game.
Curveball and struck him out.
Like so.
Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Tell you what, that's a good breaking ball right there. Something he doesn't throw an awful lot, but nice to have that as a weapon when things aren't going your way.
Sometimes as a hitter, Jimmy, do you have to show it if you're the pitcher? Because they know, they see all the numbers. They see he only throws a curve about 2-3% of the time, even if it's not a strike, just to show it.
Well, we had this conversation about Darryl Kyle. When his curveball was really well, he never used it until he needed it. And then when it wasn't sharp that day, he would throw it a lot to get you to think about it. So there's a couple ways to look at it. Yachty's knows what he's doing, and I'm telling you, that breaking ball that he just threw for strike 3 right there is about as good of a breaking ball as you can have. So if I got that in my back pocket and not fastballs are throwing all over the place, I'm going to go to that weapon as much as I can. Look for that ratio to maybe change tonight.
2-0 pitch. Hit left side past Peralta, and a base hit for Travis d'Arnaud.
Because those fastballs that he's throwing right now that are flat, it's going to give him trouble against this lineup. To just not Garcia-like fastballs right there. I don't know if those are coming out of his hand, 4-seam and not 2-seam sinkers, but not what we're used to seeing out of Jaime.
See the third base coach come down to visit with Selman. And see if he can bunt. He was a starter in Vegas. Good bunt, gets it down, covering the bag at first. It's Carpenter, and it puts d'Arnaud in scoring position. Numbers not very good in Vegas, but you could say the same thing about Matt Bowman a year ago in Las Vegas, and all of a sudden he's enjoying success in the big leagues. That's a tough pitch, a tough place to pitch.
Yeah, early this year he was in AA and AAA this year, and you can see the numbers way better. Well, the ERA way better, 2 ERA, AA. But yeah, like you said, Vegas is not something you want to try to determine if you're big league worthy or not, because that is a tough place to pitch.
Jose Reyes walked, stole a base, and scored. Looks at a strike. This guy in his prime was a fun player to watch. Table setter, great speed. Then he had his hamstring injuries over the years. Had to miss considerable time with the Mets. Signed a big free agency deal with the Marlins. Then eventually was traded to Toronto. Look at his numbers in his career. 14th season, career .290 hitter.
You can speak for yourself on that one, because I used to stand out there in the outfield trying to guess which side at the gap, what gap he was going to hit the ball in the hardest. It was wherever I stood, he hit the ball the other place every time.
0-2 pitch. Ground ball deep in the hole, and it's under the glove of Jerko and into left field. The throw coming in from Pham is not in time. Yadi to second, and Reyes is safe, and the Mets are back on top. It's now 4-3. Jose Reyes drives in his 12th, and the Mets go back on top. Like he hit that with one arm.
One hand, one arm.
Yep.
Good breaking ball still. That's the difference, just a little bit, reaching out there with that one arm, a little bit more extension, just enough to hit the barrel, and you can see how quickly the ball scoots through the infield.
Ledmus Diaz taking some ground balls earlier here at the ballpark. Jim will have an update coming up in the bottom of the second. And a curveball taken high by Cabrera. That's one you'd love to see Jerko, if he could get there, just keep it on the infield. Very tough play. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Something to play for, and that's what every team would love to say in September. Both these teams have a crack at postseason play. Come to the ballpark with some energy, starting to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel. That's driven out to deep right center field, and that ball is down all the way to the wall. And Cabrera drives in Reyes to make it 5-3 New York. So Cabrera is 2 for 2, and both runs have scored with 2 outs here in the top of the second.
Let's see, there's that 2-seamer. Didn't really do much again, and I'm telling you, these guys at this level, you throw a ball up and out over the plate, it's going to get hammered. Unless you're throwing 96. Trying to get big league hitters out with fastballs up and out over the plate without any sink is a tough task.
Now Cespedes, who popped out his first time up. Defected from Cuba, signed a huge deal with the Oakland A's. He spent time with Detroit, the Mets, Boston. Mets wanted him back so badly they gave him 3 opt-outs in his contract. 3 years, $75 million. And he is the main reason why this team went into postseason play and then eventually into the World Series a year ago. Daniel Murphy had a terrific postseason, but to get there, it was Cespedes who ignited this offense.
Yeah, he went nuts last year.
Oh, he was great. Here's a 1-1 pitch by Jaime Garcia. Good pitch, had him out in front. 1-2.
You can see Jaime right there is not happy with what he's got to work with today and is grinding through each pitch. Shaking his head even though he got a swing and miss on a ball in the dirt. But it is, I'm telling you, when you got your best stuff, guys are taking good at bats against you. When you don't have your best stuff, it is tough to kind of keep your composure and move the ball around. Just every time you let go of the ball, you're thinking, what's going to happen here?
And with his stuff too, especially with the fastball, it darts all over the place, and sometimes that ball will dart right back over the middle of the plate with no sink, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, his ball has been a little bit flatter than normal, and yeah, he's not getting, if he's not getting on top, which that might not be the reason, but the ball's not going down. You don't have any control of where it's going to go. You're definitely in, I mean, like you said, you just don't really have any idea of what's going to happen. If you could see one time he tried to throw like a cutter four-seamer inside and stayed flat, and then the last ball driven into the right center field gap was a two-seamer that just stayed up and didn't really get that sink that he normally gets, or even that run. And if it stays up with very little movement, I mean, kind of witnessing what's going on right here. Balls are kind of getting hit all over the place. He'll figure it out.
The 2-2 pitch, shift put on with 2 strikes. Molina holds on, somehow held on to that baseball. And a strikeout of Cespedes. The Mets left fielder is 0 for 2. Garcia 2 strikeouts in the inning and 3 so far tonight. Mets back on top. It's 5-3. The wild card race, all important series here at Busch Stadium. It'll be Grichuk, Garcia, and Pham as we check in with Jim Hayes.
Yeah, Dan, all kinds of injury updates today. I'm with John Mozeliak, the Cardinal general manager. Let's start with Matt Holliday, who's dealing with a fractured thumb, but there is some good news, right?
Well, he had the cast taken off today, and he'll start his rehab down in Jupiter, and then he'll progress. Now he's been put in a more customized splint. But, you know, we're still optimistic that we will see him before the season ends.
Aledmys Diaz also dealing with a fractured thumb. We saw him on the field today taking some ground balls. It would appear that maybe Diaz is ahead of Holliday.
Well, he is. Obviously, the injuries are a little bit different. And then, of course, Matt had to have surgery. But, you know, I think we'll have a better idea of exactly where Mr. Diaz is early part of next week, and then if all goes well after he gets those images, then hopefully we can advance him.
Grichuk goes up the middle, so Monday is when he'll have that imaging, and then you'll move ahead from there once you guys assess where Aledmys is?
Yeah, I mean, we're hopeful that that'll show some healing and allow him to then ramp up his baseball activity.
Matt Adams dealing with shoulder inflammation. He said he was close, and I guess he's on the brink of heading out on a rehab assignment.
Yeah, that's right. I was encouraged with the news today. Spoke with the medical staff, and we're hopeful to get him going maybe as early as Thursday to begin his rehab assignment.
Trevor Rosenthal started a throwing program today, just at the very beginning of that throwing program. Do you guys have a timetable when he possibly could be back?
Well, I think really it's how he feels and as his progression begins. But, you know, I think if everything went well, you're probably looking at an additional 3 weeks.
Michael Wacha, what's the update on him?
He, too, will begin throwing at the end of the week, and then depending on how things feel for him, and then also he will then be given an MRI probably in the early part of September, and then based on those results will dictate how much further we can push him.
And then there's the case of Lance Lynn, who's coming back from Tommy John surgery. He'll make a third rehab start tomorrow. Now, you guys aren't necessarily thinking right now in terms of getting him back with the Cardinals. Is that correct?
Well, I think the way we're trying to look at this is, one is allow him to feel good about what he's been able to accomplish post TJ, and then really have confidence going into spring training next year. But if things go well for him and there is a chance that we could possibly use him, it is something we would think about, but that's not what's driving this rehab.
So he's going to throw about 50 pitches or so is what he told me. So if he were to make it back, and we know a lot has to go right, would he be working out of the bullpen? Is that how you envision it?
I would imagine that would be the likelihood. Again, I'm not at that point where we're determined usage. Still a lot of things have to happen, but certainly encouraged based on where he is, having surgery back in November.
And the news on Jordan Walden isn't quite as positive, right?
No, it's not. And I think, you know, the likelihood of him pitching for us is still something of a long shot. But he's down there. He's in Jupiter. He's trying to get himself back. But, you know, right now I think we just really have to take it day to day. And until he can go back-to-back bullpens or back-to-back BP, not going to be ready for a game.
I would imagine if you're general manager of the Cardinals, the best news is you guys have won 6 out of your last 7. And here you have all these guys that we just listed with injury updates, and some of those guys you might be getting back at some point.
Well, we're certainly hopeful. You know, you look at September, you have the opportunity to expand rosters, but, you know, I think the most important thing for us is to make sure that we're not rushing these guys back to where we have setbacks. And the good news is, as you said, we're playing good baseball, and hopefully we can continue to do so.
Thanks for the time, Mo.
Yes, Jim.
All right, Danny.
Good stuff, Jim. Thank you. And Pham hits it to second. Could be 2 out there and out at first. Double play for 6-3. So a double play, and it's 5-3 Mets. 3. Garcia back to work here in the top of the 3rd at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Game 1 of the 3-game set. What have you seen here from Jaime Garcia?
Well, what we've seen is not your normal Jaime Garcia. You can see the last 2 pitches and now the 3rd pitch, really flat fastballs. You have another one right there, just right over the heart of the plate with not a whole lot of movement. Looked like in the last inning he started getting a little tiny bit of tail at the very end. So hopefully he's figuring it out or getting on top of it a little bit more. But you know, right now 5-3, only a 2-run deficit. But Yadi's really kept him in the game, I think, making him throw his changeup and his breaking ball. And you know, it doesn't really matter what the score is. He's still got to get deeper into this game and give the team a chance to catch up, get the bullpen, even though they've had plenty of time off. You just can't mail it in just because you don't have your best stuff today. So he's going to go out there and see how long he can keep it up, and hopefully they can get back into this game.
Wilmer Flores takes a pitch low. Garcia, this is his 7th career start against the Mets. 6 prior to this one, a 1.58 ERA against New York. And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
I'll tell you what, I'll take those 2 pitches right there. Those are fastballs, and those are back down in the zone, sinking. So somebody said something to him, or he figured out something in between innings, or maybe just having that long at bat took something out of him. Kind of backed off a little bit, getting some sink out of his fastball.
Change up. 2-2. Flores at home run, hit out to left. A 3-run shot gave the Mets an early lead. Cardinals tied it up in the bottom of the 1st, and the Mets then picked up 2 last inning. The 2-2. And it's a strikeout. 4 strikeouts for Jaime. Krispy Kreme doesn't deal. Cardinals get 9 hits tonight. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. Receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. And stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kreme locations or locations in Bloomington or Springfield, Illinois for this sensational deal. Brings in Jay Bruce. Takes a ball. Bruce struck out first time up. Cardinals had a lot of off days bunched together this past week. 6-3 road trip. They're just 28-33 though at home this year. They posted a winning record on just 3 homestands this season. That is hard to imagine, and yet they play so well on the road.
I'd like to see them turn that around. It's not too late. Get a little bit tougher at home. Kind of just keep this little wild card edge. Looking for any little edge you can find to push you into the postseason.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Hit the other way, and watch out. And an incident over the weekend in Philadelphia. A young girl was hit by a foul ball, and thank goodness after an overnight observations in the hospital she was okay. Let's hope that gentleman is all right as well. Strikeout number 5 for Garcia. That's the breaking ball again.
Tell you what, one of the good things that can come out of this is he can find his off-speed stuff. A lot of sinkers, and now you're seeing that he has to use this breaking ball. He's thrown some really good ones tonight and some really good changeups.
Yep, this is the most we've seen in a long time in terms of the breaking ball from Jaime Garcia. TJ Rivera batting .355, no home runs. He's driven in 3. The changeup had him way out in front. So exactly what you're talking about here, Jimmy. He's going with the off-speed stuff.
And you can see he's not really shaking Yachty off. I mean, Yachty's kind of calling this game. Jaime's running with it.
0-1 pitch. Line to short, caught by Jeff Jerko. So the first 1-2-3 inning that Garcia has enjoyed tonight. We're midway through 3, and the Mets on top 5-3. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. We enjoyed our speaker series last night here at the ballpark, celebrating the '06 championship team. My partner Jim Edmonds led the way with Randy Flores and David Eckstein. What a fun night that was. And tomorrow afternoon, the speaker series continues with Steven Piscotty. Have lunch down in the Cardinal Club. We've released a few more seats at cardinals.com/events if you'd like to come. Hear from Steven Piscotty.
Don't you think that Randy Flores kind of led the way last night?
He was funny. He was funny.
I'm going to get him, I'm telling you.
As you said last night, Randy, I'm now a broadcaster. I have the last word.
Got the last word, my friend. And he's going to be listening tonight. We got a few more innings to find a spot to get him.
That was great. A breaky ball taken just inside. Piscotty thought he may have been struck out. Cardinals 173 home runs, 4th in Major League Baseball, 1st in the National League. Stevens spoils that pitch. That's the new netting here at the ballpark that was added prior to the season, right by the camera well, which extends to the dugout. A lot of talk that maybe you would extend the netting even further down. Some teams have already done that.
Well, we just saw a ball go over the third base dugout. See the first base dugout netting right there, but the thing I saw was even down the line a little bit even further. I mean, balls get hit so hard down that line, and even down there by where the ball guys are, there's not much protection down there.
No time to react.
It's a scary thing when you're watching the game from out in the outfield or in the dugout and real time, and how quickly that ball can get down there, and people aren't really paying attention and thinking the ball's coming to them. And then by the time you react and get set, the ball's already hitting you in the chest or the face or the arm, or it's not a good spot. So I kind of like the netting. I know a lot of people don't like to sit behind the netting, but one day they'll be thankful.
3-2 pitch to Piscotty. Fly ball into shallow left center field. Ruggiano is there to make the catch, and that's out number 1. All the Hall of Famers will be back in town this weekend. August 26th. Salute the career of Hall of Famer Bob Gibson. That day, 30,000 fans 16 and older receive a Bob Gibson red jacket statue to add to their collection. It's courtesy of Scott Credit Union, and tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. We have our luncheon. It's about at like noon, and then the Hall of Fame ceremony at 2. But to be behind the scenes in that luncheon, it's a lot of fun to hear the stories of those players that come together. Great class going in this weekend, led by Chris Carpenter and Joe Torre, Terry Moore and Sam Braden. You get to put the red jacket back on.
Get to put it on again. Such a nice treat. Get to see everyone. A lot of fun for the fans. They get to hear you.
Oh yeah.
Again. As if they don't hear you enough.
Good point. The 1-1. And Carpenter lifts a fly ball out to Ruggiano in center field. It is open to the public over at Fox Sports Midwest Live at Ballpark Village. So if you're so inclined, if you have a ticket to the game that night, come on down early and take in the Hall of Fame ceremony. Selman has come in relief of Jonathan Neese, who lasted all of a third and done a very nice job. First man he saw was Yadier Molina back in the first, gave up a double, but since then he has settled in. Did walk a man. That was Jaime Garcia, the pitcher, but he was erased on a double play.
And this is kind of what we were talking about earlier with these injuries. There's always somebody there that's going to get a chance. It's going to open some eyes. This kid is 22 years old. He's got a great arm. Got a nice slider, so he might open some eyes tonight. You never know, he might get another start.
Here's a 1-1. We talked about how it could be a nightmare for Terry Collins to think about getting through the 9 innings. But you're also on the other side set to go against a lefty in your lineup. And the right-handers that are in this lineup in particular, because Neese had struggled against right-handed batters. Well, now it's flipped right away, and this young man has come in and done a nice job. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Hit out of play by Moss. The shift is on, and the 2-2 pitch. 3-2. Molina on deck.
There's a good look at that sinker right there from behind. The ball really falls off the table at 94 miles an hour. I mean, this young man has a good arm.
Just missed on the outside corner. The Cardinals have received 4 walks in this game, 2 by Neese and now 2 from Snellman.
I think I was incorrect. I believe he is now 23 years old. So now he's an old man.
Yeah.
He's gotten some time in the big leagues, and he can settle down and go ahead and pitch.
His time has consisted of 1 time through the lineup.
Got him an extra year.
Molina, base hit out to left. So Yadi has seen 2 pitches from Selman, and he's 2 for 2.
Doesn't want to see that sinker. Get the ball up in the zone. That's what you're taught. Get the ball up in the zone right here. See the 2-seamer that just doesn't dive, and Yadi's ready to go. Still see even got in on him a little bit with that run.
Quietly, Yadier Molina's had a very good second half. Near 30 in doubles. Came in hitting .280. That's now on the rise. And it brings in Johnny Peralta with 2 outs and 2 on. Just missed inside. Home plate umpire Mike Winters, the crew chief, has not been giving him that pitch. Mike Mulchinski is at first base. Marty Foster at second. Mark Wegner down at third.
Some of those balls are just missing, not really giving him a whole lot. That's how it used to be when I came up. Depends if you were the hit. Didn't matter if you're the hitter or the pitcher. If you didn't have a whole lot of service time, you're not getting the benefit of the doubt on either side. So if you're hitting and an older guy's on the mound, those are strikes. If you're the younger guy and there's an older guy at the plate, those are balls.
Maybe that's what's happening here.
Maybe.
Here's a 2-0 pitch with 2 runners on. Peralta grounded out to third, but picked up an RBI back in the first. He's now driven in 18 this year in limited time because of the issues with his hand and his thumb, injured in spring training. 5-3 Mets as we play here in the bottom of the third. Peralta. Oh, what a play here. Cabrera flips to second for the out. Wow, what a play as Asdrubal Cabrera as he robs Johnny Peralta. Some English on that baseball maybe, but the short hop comes up with it and a force play at second just in time. It's Friday, September 9th. You'll pick up that t-shirt, also a pregame concert, part of our theme nights here at the ballpark. Cardinals.com/theme. Really neat moment during the commercial break as the crowd got a chance to see that man right there. There's Chris Carpenter, and you just told me that's the most you've seen him smile in a long time, and that's great. He has an open door to come back and work for the club if he'd like to. He's not doing that currently, but man, was this guy some kind of player. And I know, talking with you and talking with others, great teammate too.
Great teammate, great man. It's great to see him back. It's been a while, way too long. It's great to see him smile. I don't know if I've seen that smile.
Yeah.
Other than maybe on a bus ride or a dinner. Other than that, he was a fierce competitor. One of the best.
There's Ruggiano. What was it like playing behind him?
The best. It helped me so much because he was one of those guys that I knew when he was on the mound, it made my job so easy because I just had to follow the program and I could stand where I was supposed to stand.
High fly ball, deep left center. This will leave the ballpark in a long home run, and I mean long, off the bat of Ruggiano, his second this year. And the second home run hit by the Mets tonight to make it a 6-3 New York lead. So the Mets pick up their 6th hit, and it's a 6-3 lead. They start to stretch now in that Cardinals pit. 8th place hitter Travis d'Arnaud. Can you describe what it was like on a Chris Carpenter day as Reyes starts to throw? But
like I said, it made my job one easier, but so much fun because I could be so much more aggressive as an outfielder. I knew when Yachty put the sign down and moved, Chris was going to throw the ball where he was supposed to throw it, and the pitch that was supposed to be thrown was going to do what it was supposed to do, and it just gave me so much confidence to cheat and start getting my momentum going in the right direction. And he had such a devastating cutter, and I mean, it was devastating. And it into the lefties, away to the righty. It just seemed like he was on all the time, and I can't remember very many games where I would have to worry about, you know, backing up or really having to worry about the ball going over my head, because he kept the ball down in the zone. It was aggressive, and he really just went to work every time he was out there on the mound.
Could you talk to him on a day that he pitched?
I could, but not very long. For a second. No, he was a competitor, and everyone knows what kind of a player he was and stayed out of his way. He liked to be kind of by himself and stayed with his thoughts, but I think that's what made him so good. He knew what he was going to do. He knew his game plan. He knew his body and how to keep himself prepared. Never tried to do too much. Never tried to kind of get away from his plan. And there were days when he had more than he needed, and he let it go. And then there was other days when he would just go out there and pitch with just precision. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun for me, because there were some times when, if there was 2 strikes on a right-handed hitter that was a pretty good right-handed hitter that would hit the ball to contact, I could start running as soon as he let go of the ball, knowing he wasn't going to elevate it, and I could cheat in and not have to go back.
So 2 outs, and Reyes picks up a base hit into left center field.
And one more thing, off the field and underneath the stadium and in the weight room, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys that have vouched for this, and Pete Prenzy's down there, see him all the time, and one of the hardest working guys in the weight room, one of the hardest working guys in the bullpen that I've ever seen. That I hear that from all the guys underneath there, the trainers. I used to remember his workouts on his off days and in the weight room, and he'd come out of there sweating bullets, just getting his work in. And I think he really pushed all the other pitchers to be that way too.
Adam Wainwright credits Chris Carpenter for much of his success here in the big leagues. Base hit by Reyes, and now Cabrera. Check on Reyes. Carpenter credits guys like Roger Clemens, David Wells, when he dealt with those guys in Toronto. And then the Cardinals took a flyer on him, and there was a standing ovation, as I mentioned a moment ago during the commercial break, for him in this crowd. Also the players applauding Carpenter, and the manager of the Cardinals that helped bring him to St. Louis, Mike Matheny. A first pitch had a little zip on it too. Sign him up. Chris Carpenter back in St. Louis.
Dan, Lance Lynn will make his third rehab start tomorrow. This one at Double-A Springfield. He told me he's scheduled to throw about 50 pitches, and he said he's throwing at about 85 to 90% of what he would if he were totally healthy. But he's not thinking about a return to the Cardinals just yet. He told me realistically the chances of getting back to the majors this season and being productive are, quote, very slim. He told me it's not worth putting myself or the team at risk if I'm not ready to go. And Dan, he's not ruling anything out, but he says there are plenty of reasons to be extra cautious.
Jed Jerko at the plate. Jimmy, if he would come back, it would be more than likely, though, in the bullpen, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And we talked to John Mozeliak about it. They really don't want to slot where he would be or when it would happen because, again, they want him to get through in the best possible health that he can be. But if he's a go and there's a need, my guess, bullpen, Dan.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. The 2-1 pitch to Jerko is taken for a ball. Jed struck out his first time up, chased a slider out of the zone. One strikeout for this right-hander. Catches the bottom of the zone. Chris Carpenter was so big in 2011 and in 06. Big game pitcher as Jerko draws the walk. Selman, he thought that was a strike. Chevy Fox tracks. So the rookie doesn't get the call and the veteran does.
He's getting the rookie zone, the rookie treatment. Sometimes they give that to you a little bit just to see how you'll react. Haven't seen it very often in the last 5 or 6 or 10 years, but it came up in that era where everyone before me got that treatment.
So that is his third walk. The Cardinals have received 5 thus far. Here's Randal Grichuk. Grichuk grounded out to short, 0 for 1. And Colton Wong is at the on deck circle. Alex Reyes is throwing in the Cardinals pen. What a weapon he could be down the stretch. He already has been. Picked up his first major league save on the road trip. This time he gets the call, but that's a young player in the batter's box.
Now you got to flip a coin. It's a pretty good pitch. I'm sure the catcher behind the plate would be talking to the umpire when pitches are thrown around the zone and are getting called in their direction.
Here's a 1-1. My understanding is, if you're wondering, well, why haven't you interviewed Chris Carpenter? Well, Saturday we'll have the chance to have both Joe Torre and Chris Carpenter come by and be a part of the telecast on Saturday night. Oakland A's will be in town, Hall of Fame weekend. The 2-1. BJC Healthcare difference maker. What the Cardinals do in terms of their offense, runs scored at home and on the road. 16th in runs per game at home. The highest, though, on the road. And it's also the largest difference in Major League Baseball. The 2-2. Tied him up and struck him out. Second strikeout. First out here in the bottom of the 4th.
You can see right here he's got a good sinker. The ball's down and in, good location. You have to be respectful of it, and yet the ball ends up running off the plate for a ball.
This young man has pretty good stuff.
He does have really good stuff. And you know, it's funny, I was in Anaheim, as you know, this weekend for Garrett Anderson's Hall of Fame induction, and Torrey Hunter talked to Torrey Hunter for a few minutes, and we were talking about pitching and pitchers and hitting, and he said, you know what, y'all had it easy. It is hard to be a right-handed hitter in the big leagues, and that's a guy who did a pretty good job for a long time. But I think I've said that plenty of times on these telecasts. It's a lot different story on the left side than it is the right side. You got a lot of righties and a lot of that sinking action right there, and it's It's a tough. I mean, it's a tough one to handle. I'm glad I was left-handed.
0-1 pitch to Wong. The pinch hitters of the Cardinals with 14 pinch hit home runs, which is tied for the all-time record. The 2001 San Francisco Giants and the 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks. Short lead at first, and the 1-1 pitch. Breaks his bat and pulled it foul. Wilmer Flores, the first baseman, he didn't know whether to find the baseball or get out of the way of the bat.
It's a lethal weapon right there. Couple of knee buckling reaction, little knee buckle reaction right there, and you can see he saw the bat and the ball and decided just to cover up.
Protect himself. That is a shattered bat. Here's a 1-2. Let's talk a little bit about what Bill Miller is doing right now. He's getting times, and ideally, what's a good time to run? What's a good time not to run?
Yeah, this is one of those things when you get a young man up in the big leagues and hasn't been around and not a whole lot of book on him. You got to time him, and you got to know if he's going to run, it's got to be under or above 1.3 seconds to home plate.
And for fans, Jimmy, that don't know, when does it start? When does it stop?
As soon as he starts his movement out of the stretch. So as he comes set, and as soon as he moves and goes towards home plate, they start the clock. And then as soon as it's either, you would like it to be in the catcher's glove because of contact, it's going to be a little faster. But that'll tell you if he's above 1.3. Pretty good base runner can try and steal second, and if it's below, don't even try it.
Shallow left field. Cespedes under it to make the catch. And back to the bag at first goes Jerko. 2 down, top of the lineup in Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham walked and scored back in the first and grounded out into a double play. 4-6-3. 0-for-1 tonight. So Jonathan Neese lasted a third of an inning, left with a left knee issue. Gave up 3 runs, 2 walks. And Pham takes a ball. Terry Collins, the manager of the New York Mets, number of years with the Angels, and obviously you know him quite well. He is a fiery guy, and he got after his team publicly in a post-game rant. It's been about a week, maybe 10 days. He said, bottom line, if there are guys that don't want to put out and give us their best effort, we'll find 9 that will. He's an enjoyable guy to be around as he gets pretty fired up.
Well, he said it's a whole new monster out there in New York, and now he's had a chance to be there for 4 or 5 years. And
Pham is hit by the pitch.
He said he is under fire every single day just because of the media and the amount of media and the challenge of the media having to outdo themselves and the stories. And he just says everywhere he looks there's somebody pulling on him and wanting a different story and different reason, and really got to be careful. And he said even himself has to be ready to come to the ballpark every day. You better be ready for it.
So rebuilding of the Mets 2009. Remember, very good team in 06 that was eliminated by the Cardinals in that thrilling postseason that Jim was a part of. And then the final day of the regular season, they lose in 07, 08, and then it was rebuilding from that time forward. The Madoff scandal had hit. They weren't spending money. The payroll was very low for a New York team. But they had some pretty good drafts and some good trades along the way by Sandy Alderson. And now in the thick of the wild card. 2 outs and 2 on for Stephen Piscotty. He is lined out to left and also flied out to center. Pulls it foul. may have gotten away with that pitch. 0-2.
The ball sat up there a little bit, but I think it's the first one that he's really thrown up in the zone. But you can see that ball's right out over the plate. One thing he had right there is to maybe took a little bit off of what they've been seeing earlier in the game, because that ball just sat up there for Stephen Piscotty, but it's just a little bit slower.
And the 0-2 is hit out of play. So the Mets had to play Steven Matz on the DL. They are optimistic, though, that he would only miss 2 starts. Now, he was supposed to go Thursday against the Cardinals. He is eligible to return for the DL on August 30th. And the Mets tentatively expect him to pitch that day. It's a best case scenario for Matz. Here's the 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fouled back. It's another 1-2 pitch to Piscotty. Represents the tying run. This young man is coming to the game. I haven't seen him shake off his catcher 1 time. And normally you wouldn't expect that either. Making his major league debut. The 2-2. Piscotty lines it out to short, and Cabrera. Cardinals strand 2. They have left 5 on. We head to inning number 5. Mets on top 6-3. Ben takes us to Alex Reyes. So you're looking at multiple innings here tonight, potentially from this young fireballer that's been fun to watch since he's gotten called up. 6-3 our score. Kansas City, by the way, having won 8 in a row, they now are within 4 of the second wild card in the American League. Here's Cespedes, and he greets him with a line drive into center field. First hit tonight for the Mets left fielder. He's 1 for 3.
Talk about Yachty jumping all over their young pitcher, knowing he's going to get a fastball right away. Cespedes does the same thing. Pretty sure Reyes is going to throw him first pitch fastball, and you better be ready to hit it because you don't want to get to the point where you're behind in the count. You got to worry about all the other stuff.
Wonder where Cespedes will be playing golf tomorrow. Loves to play golf. Here's Flores. That's it out of play. He took some heat for it too because he was banged up, but then there were pictures of him playing golf, and you know, people want to know, well, are you healthy enough to play golf? Why aren't you healthy enough to play baseball? But he uses golf as a way to kind of relax, get away from the game. Here's the 0-1.
Can imagine there's a lot of heat in that clubhouse and on the field in New York.
What was it like as a visiting player going to New York, and you're one of the star players coming in on a very good team?
You definitely notice the increase in people around the clubhouse and a little bit of a louder entrance by the media. A lot more questions, a lot more angles. You know, you would see the Yankees were out of town when you were in town. You'd even see even more. So it was quite interesting to go to New York. I mean, there's everything about it was another level of expectations.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Blew it right by him at 97. So you watch Alex Reyes. Does he remind you of anybody? I mean, he is kind of guy that is free and easy, hitting triple digits, and it just seems like not a lot gets to him too.
You know what? I really don't. I think he's kind of in a league of his own right now, especially the windup. It kind of caught me by surprise that he's really not a whole lot of body movement with a lot of arm to be able to throw that hard. You know, you see usually a lot of guys that throw in the upper 90s. Kind of a wild windup, a big finish, and he's pretty compact with just a lot of effort with the arm. So that kind of caught me by surprise, but really impressed by his demeanor. I mean, he really is out there just kind of like he's been here for 10 years.
The 2-2 pitch.
See right here, not a whole lot of effort with his lower body, and then the big arm at the end, but that really doesn't do, slow motion doesn't do it justice. You can really see the arm get moving here at the end right there.
Tied him up and struck him out.
See a lot of guys when they try to reach back and get extra, you see the whole body fly and the glove arm going forward and pulling through, and then the arm coming around finishing, and you see right there he doesn't have any of that. It's just compact delivery and a lot of arm at the end.
Jaime Garcia lasted 4 innings, gave up a pair of home runs, 6 runs in this game as he struck out 6. Now it's Jay Bruce. You haven't seen the curveball yet. There it is. And some oohs and ah from the fans here in St. Louis. Haven't seen him throw that curveball all that much, and when he has, it's been inconsistent. At times you get a real good one like that, and then sometimes it just spins up. Then you get the changeup, and Carpenter gets a lead man. Good play by Carpenter. Go back to the curveball in the first pitch of the at-bat to Jay Bruce.
See that just straight down action right there. I'd like to see that rotation and all 4 seams really spinning hard downward, and that's why you get that bite. I've seen some really good curveballs out of his arm, especially like I said with that fastball and that compact delivery. You don't get a whole lot of difference between the fastball and the curveball, so if he can throw it effectively, it's going to be a weapon.
TJ Rivera. Rivera has lined out and grounded out 0 for 2 tonight. That pitch is popped up. Molina throws the mask near the screen and out of play. Yachty, especially in the series against the Cubs, it was fastball changeup mostly from Reyes. Not a lot of curveballs. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Moss will give it a look, and it's out of play. No balls and 2 strikes.
Like knowing how good Yachty is, and 6-3 game, but you watch here how intense his eyes are. Still looking at Mike for every pitch, looking for something to put on. One fastball away here, knowing Jay Bruce can still run.
Fastball, broken bat, slowly hit to Carpenter, and he makes the play. Scoreless inning for Alex Reyes. Mets on top at 6-3. Baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. New pitcher in is Jeff Smoker, left-hander, and Kelly Johnson takes over at second base for the Mets. They have a lead of 6-3. So we saw a major league debut for Selman, and he did a nice job. No runs allowed as he walked 3, struck out 2. There's Kelly Johnson, longtime major leaguer. It'll be Carpenter, Moss, and Molina. So with a couple of lefties in this lineup, do it for the Cardinals. It's our Chevy called to the pen, and they'll go with the left-hander Smoker. Matt Carpenter walked and scored back in the first, and also flied out to center. So we know right now the Cardinals would be one of the wild card teams in the National League. Over in the American League, much different story. Boston and Toronto and Baltimore right there as well. First pitch to Carpenter. Good cut, fouled back. Smoker is a hard thrower. That pitch at 96. You say that just about every time a new pitcher comes in today's day and age of baseball. All guys, it seems like, throw hard.
Arms, arms, arms. Everyone's got good arms now.
97 on the gun. And a fly ball that's lifted to Cespedes in left field. Power Stats brought to you by Kubota. Batter will be Brandon Moss in the RBI leaders for St. Louis. Moss, by the way, 23 home runs. And he is fourth on the team, or rather third on the team, tied with Diaz, 57. Then Holiday with 60 and Piscotty at 68. Smoker was the 31st overall pick back in 2007 out of high school in Georgia. 3 slots ahead of Todd Frazier, 6 slots ahead of Travis d'Arnaud, and now Moss is hit by the pitch. He was with the Washington Nationals, and he has revived his career here with the Mets.
See that changeup just got away from him. Talk about throwing lefty changeups. Brandon Moss definitely not looking for it. Jeff Smoker definitely not excited about the changeup that he threw.
Here's Yadier Molina. At one point, Smoker, his fastball was in the mid-80s, and he was ready to give up the game, went to independent baseball, and all of a sudden his arm came back. Mets took a flyer on him, and now he's gotten that velocity all the way back up to the mid to high 90s, and they think they have quite a find here.
Not too often you get to see lefties with the 97 breaking ball changeup. You can see Yachty going after the first pitch again. He's not messing around against guys he's not used to seeing. Get a fastball, he's going after it.
Lost the second Cardinal hit by a pitch as Molina hits it into shallow right center field. There's Jay Bruce. He makes the catch. That's out number 2, and it brings in Peralta. Peralta with an RBI and a ground out back in the first, and then was robbed by Asdrubal Cabrera. That ended the third. Diving stop to his left and a ball that was knuckling. Really good play. Two balls and no strikes. Way inside. On 3-0 right down the middle. So tough to be a right-handed hitter. Well, Torrey Hunter, come face Mr. Smoker if you're hitting from the other side.
Exactly.
And a strike. 3-2. You know, this time last year, Cardinals would fall behind 6-3. You'd think, well, maybe the game's out of reach. They just didn't have that power like this offense does. Down 3 runs right now, you feel you come back at any point in time. And again, the tying run will come to the plate. Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard. Single season all-time leaderboard in terms of most home runs per game, and the Cardinals edging closer to that team of 2000. Jerko has walked. He has also struck out. One of the reasons the Cardinals made the trade to get Jed Jerko and traded away John Jay was they wanted to improve their bench, and in particular what they could do against left-handed pitching. Jerko in his career has been very good against lefties.
And like you said, he can hit a fastball.
And because of that, he gets an off-speed pitch.
This looked like a split or a change or something. You can see his opening up his glove to get his hands in there, and see a lot of baseball when he pulls his hand out to pitch. I don't know if that's a split-fingered fastball or just a circle change.
And the 0-1 pitch. Jerko out to center, hard hit, and a sinking liner. Ruggiano makes the catch. Boy, he hit that ball hard. Cardinals strand 2 again. They have left 7 on in this game. Major League Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Adrian Gonzalez was 1 hit away from the cycle yesterday, but he did have 3 home runs. I guess that's good enough, and drove in 8. Gary Sanchez off to a great start with the Yankees, and Steven Strasburg, he's on the disabled list with right elbow soreness. Greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. The second inning of work for Alex Reyes. And the first pitch drops in for a strike. Reyes in relief of Jaime Garcia. Ruggiano, a solo home run, a long one into the bleachers in left center back in the 4th. It was called out on a curveball from Jaime Garcia back in the 2nd. It's 3 curveballs to start this inning.
Maybe trying to get the feel of it again. It's obvious this Mets team can hit a fastball, so try something different. Keep everybody honest.
Here's your fastball at 97. And he struck him out. That pitch at 99. StubHub, if you're looking for a seat, any ball game, home or road, find the best seat for your buck. Get the StubHub app today. 0-1 pitch to Travis d'Arnaud. 0-2.
You can even see just that swing right there. Just a few breaking balls to a couple hitters here and there. Keep these guys from just really going out there and letting it fly on the fastball from the get-go. You got to respect that curveball, especially the one over your head. But you can see the difference in the swings. A couple curveballs keep that bat from really flying, and got to honor it a little bit. Then you get 97. That's pretty much by the hitter. Little change up,
and he got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Reyes. Third strikeout in his inning in 2/3 thus far.
Really good changeup right there. Great call by Yachty. That fastball, you get a curveball. Throw a bad curveball as a hitter, you're thinking, okay, here comes the fastball again, and then you get a good four-seam changeup. It's the last thing you're thinking about when a guy's throwing 99.
Pitch at 95 to Kelly Johnson. First plate appearance of the night. Took over at second base for the Mets. And the 1-0. Off the end of the bat, little squibber hit left side. Peralta stays down on it and makes the play. Easy 1-2-3 for Alex Reyes. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Randall Grichuk leads it off when we come back. Induction class has been selected. Cardinals and Edward Jones. Congratulate Sam Braden, Terry Moore, Joe Torre, Chris Carpenter. They will be inducted this Saturday at Fox Sports Midwest Live in the Cardinals Hall of Fame inside Ballpark Village. And learn more at cardinals.com/HOF. Randall Grichuk, Alex Reyes, and the top of the lineup. You wondered here in the 6th inning, down by 3, if indeed Mike Matheny would want to go to his bench and then go back to his bullpen. He's going to stick with Alex Reyes for at least one more inning, if not 2. Third pitcher used by the Mets is Smoker, his second inning of work, and Grichuk hits it a ton left center. Gone! Solo home run, Randall Grichuk, number 16.
Tell you what, Danny, this game's so much about guesswork. When you got a guy throwing 97 and he throws a changeup first pitch for a ball, you have to believe he's coming back with a fastball, and you better be ready to hit it. Randall Grichuk right there was right on time, and that's something that as he gets a little bit older and a little bit more experience, that should start happening more and more. And that was just a really good at bat. It's got to lean right into what's going to come next.
1-1 the count on Reyes. First major league plate appearance for Alex Reyes. Cardinals have now homered in 12 straight games.
And that's what he was thinking right there. The changeup for the ball. Going to come back with a fastball. And I think Smoker might have learned his lesson, even if it is the pitcher hitting.
Here's a 1-2. And Reyes strikes out. The Cardinals from 2007 through last year never homered in 11 consecutive games. They've now done that twice in 6 weeks. The season high is 17 straight. And right now they are 12. We talk about it all the time. This is where this team needs to grind. All the off days they just enjoyed. The Cardinals now play 29 of the next 30. That off day will come on the road. Home run Randall Grichuk. RBI number 45 and home run number 16.
So much power with just such a short swing. I mean, it's so short.
Good changeup. People ask us about various players, and when they ask you about Randall Grichuk, I think the word to describe him is intrigue.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys with all the tools. It's just going to take him some time to get comfortable, to really understand the game at this level. This level is so much different. You know, you go, I saw an article talking about 4A players who are not basically, they're too good for AAA, but yet can't really catch on to the big league, so you're a 4A player. He's not a 4A player. He's a guy that's just going to take a little bit of time. He's still young. The game is so different up here because the pitchers are so much better with every pitch, and every pitch they throw at any given time can be a strike. They set you up, they make you look bad, they throw in, they throw out. In AAA, they can't do that. He's got all the tools. It's just going to take him a little bit of time to really figure out what he's going to do at the plate.
2-2.
You see flashes of it. I mean, you see the short swing, is all the power, the speed. It's a lot of development that has to take place mentally as well as physically, and you just have to see repetition at the plate and all the different pitches and all the different teaching that goes on at the big league level.
Got him with the changeup.
See what a changeup split finger that he's got right there. It looks like kind of like a split fingered fastball, but it looks like it's in the middle of his hand and not like the old school split.
Yeah, they say they
called it like a Vulcan pitch or something.
Right. They say he uses the grip, and it does look like a changeup grip. However, as you say, it's more back in the hand, so it comes out as the changeup.
Great action on it. The arm action is what really sells it. It looks like he's throwing as hard as a fastball. Yep. It is a split. You can see it. And it can come out, and the thing about a split, a true split like that, can come out and spin a lot, go down. It can kind of knuckle a little bit.
High fly ball, deep left field. Cespedes back in the corner, and he'll leap and caught it. Oh, what a catch, Cespedes, as he robs Piscotty.
Ball stayed up there a long time, didn't it?
Sure did. And that would have been very close to a home run. 6-4 as we head to the 7th. Strawberry lemonade. It's back and it's only available at McDonald's. That applause is not for Randall Grichuk, it's for the Kiss Cam. Reyes first pitch to Jose Reyes. Strike one. Jose tonight walked and scored, stole a base, picked up a 2-out RBI base hit in the second, and singled to left center. Taps it foul, 0-2. 6-4 our score. Free and easy when you watch Alex Reyes. Change up and struck him out. That's 4 strikeouts.
Did you see him look back? Like, what was that? Get a lot of looks like this when you have stuff that he's got. Look at Jose Reyes turn back around like, the heck?
Good call.
I've been there. Lots.
Tomorrow night, Carlos Martinez and Jacob deGrom. deGrom 7-6, Martinez 11-7. Fastball and a strike. We'll be on the air at 6:30 tomorrow. Note the start time on Thursdays at 6:15, 5:30 with the pregame. Fun matchup tomorrow. That's driven into the gap in right center field. It's cut off by Piscotty. And Asdrubal Cabrera has his 3rd hit and 2nd double of the night. Piscotty on that ball that he hit to left hit it about as high as he did far. Now these are major league players, Jimmy. You were a great defensive outfielder, but still that play that Cespedes made wasn't easy. You could see he couldn't quite get to where the ball was going to drop and then had to get over and then time the jump.
Well, he ran a long way. I mean, I think he might have been even further into the gap than Tommy Pham's standing right now, and he's standing pretty straight up, and that's a long way to run in left field for a ball that high.
And a balk has been called on Alex Reyes. So with that, the infield is drawn in, and now Molina wants to maybe calm down his
first
young
major league balk.
Yep. See that movement towards home plate, and that was called by the home plate umpire.
I wasn't sure that time was even back in. I think that's what everyone was kind of wondering themselves. For some reason, I don't think he's shaken. He's been pretty steady out there on the mound.
So they will walk Cespedes and pitch to Wilmer Flores, who had a 3-run homer back in the first. See, Molina's asked Carpenter to move. I'm not sure if the ball was in his line of vision there coming out of the hand of Reyes. Were you surprised to see Reyes hit for himself down by 3? Well, at that time, then down by 2 after the Grichuk home run.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't even thinking of it that way. I just figured that trying to get him some innings, get him into a game. I think that the best part about having him in the bullpen and the way they've been using him is they've been able to stretch him out a little bit. He's not a guy that's just going to come in and throw an inning. He's still kind of got that ability to go 3 or 4 innings. He hasn't really, you know, developed into a 1-inning guy yet. He was a, I mean, I don't know how long ago was it he was a starter. It was less than a month ago. So I think maybe just take that chance and keep him in the game. And if you can keep them at 6, and you have 3 or 4 or 5 innings left, you think you're going to score a couple runs here, a couple runs there. So no, I mean, I really thought that just trying to hold the Mets down right now is #1 priority, and you see he did a good job of that.
So that'll be it for Reyes. Nice round of applause for him. The intentional walk to Cespedes. James Loney hits from the left side, will pinch hit for Flores. So the Cardinals counter with Zach Duke. Back with more in a moment. Authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Zach Duke, who has been really good here lately, comes in to face James Loney. He'll pinch hit for Wilmer Flores, and the Cardinals going with a lefty-lefty matchup here. Crowd tonight of 40,082, 40082. So runners at the corners. Loney hitting .268. They've had injuries at first base, so they picked up Loney, who's done a nice job for him. Ground ball that's hit to short. Out at second. The turn. Double play. Jerko. Carpenter. Moss. Molina's fired up. Big double play induced by Zach Duke. Nice play to start it there by Jed Jerko, and the turn by Carpenter. Time to stretch. It stays a 2-run Mets lead. Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Jerry Blevins, new pitcher in for New York. Matt Carpenter leads it off, followed by Moss and then Molina. So Blevins could be in there just to face those two. And then Terry Collins goes back to his bullpen. A huge double play turned by the Cardinals to make sure this stays a 2-run lead. So Chevy called to the pen, 6-4 New York. Carpenter has walked and scored, fly to center and fly to left. James Loney stays in the game at first base. There's a base hit into right field. Carpenter hustling out of the box. And he'll stay at first. Has to get down quickly and safe. Very good arm and right. Good defensive player in Jay Bruce.
Carp doing a good job staying with that pitch, pulling it. You can see Jay Bruce. I think Jay Bruce right here could be a big-time big league center fielder. He runs better than he looks. He's got a good arm. He's got a great idea. He plays the game the way the game is being played out on the field. He moves with the pitches. I've always thought as a center fielder he would have been a good center fielder in Cincinnati, and he just kind of left him over there thinking maybe center field was going to be too much for him, but he's very athletic. And you can see right there he came up and nice and easy just flipped it right back into first base like no big deal, and almost caught Matt Carpenter going around too hard.
He's a former teammate of yours.
Yeah, I loved him. I've always liked watching him play, and surprised me is how athletic he is when I got a chance to play with him, and I'm a big fan.
Good guy too.
Good guy, yeah.
Yep.
Great kid.
Here's Brandon Moss, who's been hit by a pitch. He has walked and also an RBI base hit. Oof. Trying to tie it up with one swing of the bat. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks. Look at that swing. Lets it rip.
Let's get the head out. Try to hit the barrel. Simple game. Until you see those right there.
It's kind of pitch that evens it up, huh?
Yep.
Pretty good breaking ball here to Moss, and now Terry Collins goes back to his bullpen. He'll bring in a right-hander. A strikeout of Moss. So Blevins gave up the base hit to Carpenter. And Jim Henderson. Chevy called to the pen, will come to the ball game for the New York Mets. They'll face Yadier Molina. Yadi represents the tying run when we come back. Lewis's biggest office party of the year. The Biz Dash is Thursday, September 15th at Ballpark Village. Live music, company tailgates, and more. Fox Sports Midwest presents the Friendly Industry Team Competition, so create your company team. Join the fun by visiting stlbizdash.com. So here's Jim Henderson. He's been a closer at times in his career. 32nd appearance on the year, and he will face Yadier Molina, who's seen a total of 4 pitches in 3 plate appearances here tonight. He's been aggressive early in the count.
See what he does here. A little different. Maybe a guy he's seen before. Tell you what, definitely paying attention if you're coming out of the bullpen knowing he swung at the first 3 out of 5 pitches.
Up the middle, base hit. He's seen 5 pitches tonight, and Yadier Molina has 3 hits.
Tried to go with a little slider right there, and Yadi still covered it. See right here, this ball just didn't get away enough, and Yadi seems to be locked in a little bit today, and you're locked in, things are going right, you hit those balls right on the barrel.
Brings in Peralta. The Cardinals have stranded 7 here tonight, so they've had plenty of opportunities. Hyundai pitch arsenal. Typical right-handed reliever, fastball, slider.
That might be another reason why Yadi went after the first pitch. He only had 2 to choose from, and the thing that these guys do is they watch so much film on pitchers, especially when they're coming out of the bullpen in tight games, and they know they're going to be away a lot. The fastball and the slider allows you to stay on it a little bit longer.
Sometimes, in your opinion, too much video?
You know what? It's really changed. I think when I say video and what I think you're thinking of video is the old school video when you just used to watch the guy pitch and then you had to break it down yourself. What they have now is a computer system that can literally tell you pitch by pitch, every pitch that he threw for the entire year, fastball only, slider only, what location, where it is, and how many of those pitches are in that location, and you get a big graph, and so you can easily determine what somebody's trying to do against most right-handed hitters. It changed my life the last couple years I played.
Hit to the right side slowly. Peralta is hustling and save at first. Mike Matheny hops right out of the dugout to the top step to make sure that the force was truly a force at second base. Here it is.
Nice work by Cabrera. Not only did he stay on the bag, he came back with his other foot. Good hustle by Johnny. I'm telling you what I was saying earlier, so much of hitting too is mental guesswork and really staying with your plan and not allowing them to trick you into something else. And if you can really break down every single pitch for the entire year on what side of the plate it's going to be, if he's throwing 95% of his fastballs away to a righty and he lets one slip and runs it in on you, you can say, okay, he didn't try to do that on purpose, so I'm going to stay back and look outside. Just like that right there. Throw a backup slider to strike. Jed can say to himself, okay, I know he's trying to throw the ball away. I'm going to stay out over the plate. I'm going to try to drive the ball into right center field. It had completely changed the way I approached
Sure.
it.
Represents the go-ahead run. 0-1 pitch to Jed Jerko. You think about guys that you want up in this spot, and certainly he'd be on that list, if not at the top of the list, the way that he's been swinging the bat.
I was thinking like Paul Molitor or Wade Boggs, but I'll go with Jed Jerko.
I'm going Jed Jerko right now. Babe Ruth. Now I want Jerko.
Used to be a guy named, I forget his name, but number 5, he was here for a while.
He was pretty good. Pretty clutch.
Not bad.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. 1-2. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Jerko. Ooh, backed up. Didn't get the call. 2-2.
Big time backup slider right there, I think. I'm gonna have to say a little bit of a cutter. Backup slider might be the hardest pitch to hit in the game, because when you see it, your eyes are telling you it's gonna move. And it's a mistake pitch, and it doesn't move, you usually swing right through it.
The 2-2 to Jerko. Just missed again. So the runner from first base, Peralta, off with the pitch. The 3-2 struck him out. So Henderson comes in and picks up the strikeout. Just missed on the previous two, not that time. 6-4 after 7. Takes over at 6-4. Mets. What a catch by Billy Hamilton moments ago. Wow. His former teammate digs in. That's Jay Bruce. Bruce is 0 for 3 tonight. First pitch is popped up. Peralta near the Mets dugout. And he makes the catch with a little help from Yachty. See where Peralta just took a peek to see where the steps were, the opening there of that fencing right by the dugout. Comes up with a nice play. Here's Curtis Granderson. So left on the Mets bench is Alejandro Diaza and Rene Rivera, the backup catcher. Two 2-0 the count. Granderson's been around a long time. Many good years with the Yankees and Detroit. And there's a strike, 2-1. Good matchup tomorrow. Martinez and DeGrom will come your way at 6:30 with the pregame show. That's our Budweiser What's on Tap. 3-1 the count here. The long strides of Jacob DeGrom as he delivers to the plate. He is nasty.
Going to be some fastballs thrown tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
lots of them.
A's will be in town over the weekend. Weaver, Leake, and Garcia. Ground ball hit to the right side, handled easily by Brandon Moss, and there's 2 away. How about the job Zach Duke has done since the trade? A little shaky at the onset, but ever since then he has been sensational.
I mean, he's come in here with a lot of experience. He's changed a little bit, still keeps the ball down, moves the ball around. You can see kind of falls off now a little bit to the first base side, but all kinds of experience, and now he's crafty, smart, knows how to pitch. He's been doing a good job as of late.
Late call for the strike to Reggiano. Solo home run back in the 4th. He has struck out twice. Addison Reed is getting loose in the pen for the Mets. They've got a real good 1-2 combination, 8th and 9th, with Reed and Familia.
A lot of teams going to that kind of a setup when you got a 7 or an 8 leading up to your closer. A few years back, everyone's trying to get the dominant closer and kind of going to bullpen by committee, but it's been a proven way to win with shutting the door down from 7, 8, and 9, and not just 9.
Many look to the blueprint of the Royals.
Kansas City Royals, yep.
Go back to the 2011 Cardinals. Back end of their bullpen was set up in many ways like that. Maybe not the big names or the guys that were throwing as hard as what we've seen from the Royals, but the blueprint was there. Shorten games up, especially when you get this late in the season and it's hard for starters to go deep in games. They do. It's not to say that they won't or haven't, but it's a good way to shorten them up. 3-2 pitch. Just missed. So from 0-2, he walked him. First base runner that Duke has allowed. Brings in d'Arnaud.
Tell you what, that Kansas City bullpen looked like they were throwing 3 clones out there.
Right.
Every one of them throwing 97 or above. Looked like they were throwing darts, nasty breaking balls. Each day you see them, you're just waiting for the velocity to dip a little bit. And it never did.
They win again tonight, so they hold on. That's 9 in a row that they have won.
I think that new netting might have just saved someone right there.
Agreed.
That was a late swing.
I'm in agreement with you. I think that we're going to look back in 20, 30 years and say, what were we thinking by not putting netting up in certain spots of the ballpark? Oh, 0-2 the count. d'Arnaud is singled to left, rounded out to short, and struck out. A night that started with Jaime Garcia going only 4 innings. The Mets starter, Jonathan Neese, a third of an inning. The 0-2. That new netting, go ahead and say it, Jimmy. Save somebody again.
Well, at least that one was a little bit higher. Tell you what, it always amazes me when you see the ball getting ripped into the stands, and it always finds an open seat or maybe a little bit of a forearm. I mean, it is just all the years that I played. very, very few balls really square people up. It always shocks me that there's an empty seat somewhere. Perfect spot for the ball to hit.
Inevitably, when you see those foul balls, you wonder about the health and your concern of the well-being of Juan Encarnacion. Unfortunately, did not come back for the 06 reunion. 0-2 pitch. Back to Duke. Spins and throws. Mets strand their 5th runner of the night. We head to the bottom of the 8th. 6-4 Mets. TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. You can watch every out-of-market game live in high definition. Over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Chevy call to the pen takes us to Addison Reed. And it is 6-4 Mets. Mets gave up 2 minor leaguers late last season, the trade deadline, to the Diamondbacks to pick up Reed. The setup man for Jerry's Familia. Reed lost the deciding Game 5 of the World Series in 2015 to the Royals. He's a good one. He's got closing experience. Back in 2014, he had 32 saves for Arizona. There's a strike to Grichuk, who is homered here tonight. Love his attitude. He'll tell you, am I sore? Am I hurt? Am I pitching with pain? Yep. But it's my job to be available every night. Popped up off the bat of Grichuk. Nissan drive of the game, the home run back in the 6th, cuts this lead to 6-4, and it was a line shot off the bat of Randall Grichuk. Home run number 16, RBI number 45 in the Nissan drive of the game. Pinch hitter is Jeremy Hazelbaker. There are times when you watch Hazelbaker swing the bat, and it's like a one-handed, one-arm swing, and the ball winds up 10 rows deep.
He's another one of those guys who's wiry, strong, with just a short swing. One of those guys in spring training, try to get him to let it go a little bit more. He's kind of just feeling his way through spring training, and I think he's taken that into this part of the year. And short stroke, and right there you can see the ball skipping through the outfield, but He's another one of those guys who's just going to keep getting better with time.
Here come those pinch hitters of the Cardinals again. Hazelbaker with a single into right, and the tying run will come to the plate. Reed has allowed just 3 home runs this year. Pitched in 2 games in the split with the Giants. They split those 4 games at AT&T Park. Tommy on the night has walked and scored. Bounced into a double play, hit by a pitch, and struck out. Here's the 0-1. Tonight that saw Jonathan Neese last a third of an inning. Then Selman, major league debut. Smoker, Blevins, Henderson, and now Reed, and he strikes out Tommy Pham. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Registration is now open. Learn more about how you can get involved this fall and visit foxsportsupports.com. Last time up, Piscotty was robbed at the wall by Cespedes. Strike 1.
See, Addison Reed's got good life to his fastball. You're only seeing 93, maybe 94, but yet everybody's a little bit behind. Tells you he's a little sneaky. And 93 probably looks like 96. Good life on every pitch so far.
One ball, one strike.
Keeps going outside with that fastball, that good four-seam fastball.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Piscotty. You know, you're talking about the velocity of these pitchers, and a guy like Reed keeps you honest. I mean, he's got a good slider, but you have to be aware and ready for a mid-90s fastball.
Some guys have the ability to have a little bit more deception than others for some reason, and it adds a couple miles an hour because your body is a little bit slower than the arm and the fastball, so makes them almost more effective than a guy that actually throws 96, that you can see the ball coming out of his hand.
The 1-2. So Steven has evened it up at 2-2 after following away some pretty good pitches.
Spoiling a couple good fastballs, trying to stay alive. Keep telling yourself to dive out over that plate and really get on that outside corner, but it's so hard to do right-hander against right-hander.
Good slider again. Tapped it foul. He's still alive. Good battle here. Piscotty lined out to left, fly to center, lined out to short, and then was robbed of a potential home run. So hit the ball well, but nothing to show for it tonight.
4 pretty good at bats, and like you said, nothing to show for it. Been on everything all night long.
The 2-2 pitch. Piscotty, base hit into left. Very good at bat. He earned that base hit.
Does such a good job of staying over the plate with his body and not really pulling off pitches from a righty. See right there, it's probably one of his few that he's not actually leaning out over the plate. We noticed that earlier in the day, where he's just really consistent about staying out over the plate and keeping his body under control.
Last home run for Carpenter was back on the 10th of this month against Cincinnati. He represents the go-ahead run. And with that, because of that, Seung-Hwan Oh has to get up and start to throw just in case he joins Sam Tuivailala. Under the watchful eye of Eugene. First pitch is strike. Carpenter tonight walked and scored, flied to center, flied to left, and singled.
I was going to say, you can even see Carp kind of get a little late read to that ball right there. So he's definitely got some life on his fastball. Gives him a little bit more deception. So I said that 94 look like it's 96, 97. Really a tough thing for a hitter to really speed up when you're so used to just being able to time everyone's body.
0-2. He didn't hit that ball. It may have hit him.
ball was coming in tight. Cut that one off. Yeah, it's Carpenter's hands are so fast.
Yes.
Quick, so quick, as I should say.
0-2 the count. Inning started with a pop out by Grichuk, base hit by Hazelbaker, strikeout of Pham, long at bat by Piscotty that resulted in a base hit to left. Now the 0-2 in the dirt. Carpenter has the great ability too, Jimmy, as you know, let the ball get deep, recognize the slider, either lay off it or just get a piece to stay alive.
Definitely does, and he has the ability to put these at bats right here and get these at bats and put them back into his favor. Foul a pitch off, take a close pitch.
1-2 the count. Carpenter, fly ball into center. Ruggiano is under it and makes the catch. So Reed a scoreless bottom of the 8th. 6-4 Mets on top. post-game show. Sam Tuivailala is in for St. Louis. His 7th appearance. Hard throwing right-hander. In relief of Zach Duke. We're in the 9th at 6-4. You think about how Terry Collins has gone about this game. He wants this game badly. He knows the importance of this series, and it could have gone terribly wrong with Jonathan Neese only giving him a third of an inning. But since that time, as Hazelbaker stays in the game and left, he's mixed and matched with lefty, righty. He wants this game. It's not your normal run-of-the-mill game in April or May.
No, he's definitely managing this with a little bit of an edge. He's used a lot more players early than he needed to or wanted to, but you can see that matchups were important. Kept his guys out there. A double switch here and there.
0-2 hit out of play.
You
Kelly
said
Johnson.
And you said got the attention of his team last week. He's fiery. I mean, he's one of those guys that's going to let you know if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. He's going to say something.
They get Cespedes back, and clearly not at 100%, but they said, look, we got to go for it. This is it. Do or die kind of thing. Fastball taken high at 95. He obviously has made a huge impact, not only with his bat, but in this game with the fly ball that was hit by Piscotty to the wall. Cardinals have had numerous opportunities to score and have not. Little charity hop there to Jerko, positioned perfectly. St. Louis is stranded 11 through 8 innings. Brings in Reyes, who is 2 for 3 tonight with a walk. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. So look at the future, a little bit of the now as well in the present. Alex Reyes on the right, Aledmys Diaz on the left. Cardinals have gone 10-8 since Diaz has been out. But he changes the look and complexion of this lineup.
Oh, you're just really taking him off the field and sticking one of your bench players on the field every day, and then you have to go find someone to replace one of them.
Shallow left. Diving attempt by Hazelbaker comes up short. Great effort. And it's a 3-hit night for Reyes on base for the 4th time.
Guy just finds a way to get on base all the time.
It used to be a situation like this in the 9th with a 2-run lead. And it's not to say that it's not the case anymore, but with his speed, and he has lost a step, he could just disrupt the game. The flow of the pitcher. May see him run with a 2-run lead. Who knows? Brings in Cabrera. Big night for him. 3 hits, 2 doubles. .484 steals. Reyes, Cabrera, Cespedes combined have been on base 9 times tonight. And then the cleanup hitter, Wilmer Flores, had a big blow, a 3-run shot back in the 1st. So the top of the lineup of the Mets producing. Cutter misses in. Cardinals feel the next step for Tuivailala is to develop the secondary pitches. We know about the arm. We know about the fastball. He's added in the cutter. They're trying to come off with more of a different look. A good pitch at 89.
Got a couple of them in this at bat. Working on slider / cutter. Some a little bigger than others. You can use that 97 in the cutter or slider. You can throw that slider where you need to throw it. Now you can get through an inning here and there, or a lot of innings with just 2 pitches.
1-2 pitch. Caught the umpire potentially, but it gets away from Molina. So Reyes now in scoring position.
Key to having 2 pitches as a reliever is really location, velocity, obviously location, and your secondary pitch. See this ball skip off the plate, stays down on Yachty.
Jonathan Broxton is throwing in the pen. Wild pitch charge to Tuivailala. So balk charge to Alex Reyes earlier tonight. First balk committed by the Cardinals this year. Crowd of over 40,000 here tonight. That includes the Passmore family reunion. They were at our speaker series last night. They're heading to tomorrow's speaker series with Stephen Piscotty. Inside 3-2. Reyes at second base and a 3-2 pitch on its way. And he struck him out.
Sam does a really nice job here. Throws some good fastballs away, and then you can see all the off-speed pitches on the inner half and down, and especially in. Those are tough pitches to lay off of, and when those cutters are in, that makes you kind of have to got to give yourself a little pause to make sure it's going to be a strike, and then takes it just a little bit away from that swing outside out over the plate with that fastball. So it gives the pitcher just a little bit of an advantage when you have to really kind of just wait an extra second to make sure you're going to get a strike, and then you can see what happens when you make your pitch.
Wouldn't assume that Cespedes would get a chance to swing the bat here. First base open, Loney on deck. The Mets have struck out collectively tonight against Cardinals pitching 11 times as Molina sets up about 2 feet outside. And it's right down the middle. All right.
Wasn't it Randy Flores was talking about how hard it is to intentionally walk somebody?
Yes. Last night talking about that. He had some great stories about Tony coming out, what he wanted, and then Randy at times not able to make sure that he adhered to Tony's wishes. 2 balls and a strike.
You can teach these guys work so hard at throwing strikes and keeping the ball around the zone, and then you ask him to throw the ball a foot, 2 feet off the plate. And sometimes you see right there he throws the ball right down the middle.
Again, Molina is setting up way outside. 2-1. Good pitch, 2-2. It's pretty nasty right there on the outside corner. Good cutter.
I think if you can get Yachty out there that far and the umpire has to slide a little bit, you can make that look like or appear to be a strike and kind of get around that edge of that corner of the plate. I think you might get yourself a call.
Three and 2.
Or if you get a call, you might buy yourself a check swing or a swing, knowing the hitter knowing, man, I got to cover that outside part of the plate. I don't really know if that's a strike or not, but if he calls it, I can't just sit here and stare at it.
The 3-2 pitch to Cespedes. Slowly hit left side, charging Peralta, no play. So an infield hit. Runners at the corners, and James Loney will be the hitter. Tuivailala is saying all that for that.
The funny thing is the hitter and the pitcher are unhappy right now. Even though he got a hit, he's like, got to be kidding me with that.
So Cespedes on base for the third time. And here is James Loney. One of the key plays in this game was back in the 7th. Zach Duke came in, runners at first and third, only one out, and got a double play off the bat of Loney. Cardinals will have Brandon Moss, Yadier Molina, Johnny Peralta coming up. Looking into the bottom of the 9th, Familia is loose and ready. Closer for the Mets, and that is foul, not by much. So here's the double play that ended the top of the 7th. Really nice play by Jerko and the turn by Carpenter.
It's a heck of a play by Jed Jerko. You can see that ball almost kind of kicked back on him a little bit. Even when he went down to a knee and tried to come up and throw it, he's still off balance and made a good throw to second base.
So 2 outs, count of no balls, 1 strike. Oh, and 2.
Yachty trying to get that cutter slider back in under the hands and missed a little bit.
Little flare out to shallow left, and it drops in for a hit. Reyes will score, and that makes it 7-4 New York. 0-2 pitch and Loney. Some insurance for the Mets. Brings in Jay Bruce. Fouled back, 0-2. Shift is on, and an 0-2 pitch. Bruce chased it, and he struck out. So Tuivailala gives up the 2-out RBI base hit to Loney. Familia will come on. One of the top closers in the National League. 7-4 Mets. And it's the closer of the Mets, Jerry's Familia. July 27th, dramatic win for the Cardinals. It was his first blown save of the season, win an inning, and it was a Colt long base hit. Also Molina double that did in Familia that night at Citi Field. So Familia is into the ball game, 60th appearance for this right-hander, and he's had another solid campaign. 41 saves. Opponents only hitting .240 against him. He's allowed just 1 home run this season. And the first man that he'll face in this Cardinals lineup is Brandon Moss. Frustrating night for the Cardinals. Game in which they have stranded 11.
A lot of runners, but a lot of runners left on base.
First pitch, strike 1 at 96 from Familia. Familia with 41. Melanson now with Washington 36. Kenley Jansen with 35. And Jenmar Gomez of the Phillies 33. Ramos of Miami just behind him with 32. Moss with a fly ball lifted out to left. There's Cespedes. And that's the first out. So a game that saw Jonathan Neese last a third of an inning. This young man made his Major League debut, Selman, and he's our Budweiser player of the game. He came in and settled things down, did a good job.
He really did. He threw the first pitch fastball right over the middle, and Yachty smacked it, and then after that settled down and really had good stuff. Good sink, 94, 95. Good slider. Impressive outing for your first game in the big leagues, coming out of the bullpen with a third of an inning into the game.
Alejandro Diaza is in center. Ruggiano is now in right field. Yadier Molina, and the 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Peralta on deck. An insurance run that the Mets picked up. That is big. Get 1 man on, 1 swing of the bat. This game is tied, and now you're talking about a 3-run deficit against one of the top closers in the game. Pitch at 97 and a strike.
That third run is definitely a big run, like you said. It takes you out of just a simple walk and 1 swing, tie the game up. They got to put a rally together.
3-1.
Also sometimes can be a mental defeat. You know, you're down, you're getting close, and then the team goes out there and scores a run. It's kind of like grabbing you by the neck and shaking you one last time.
3-1 pitch to Molina. 3-2. And it's held on. Strikeout for Familia. Pittsburgh picks up a win tonight at home against Houston, 7-1. Mentioned Kansas City, their win. That was over Miami, 1-0.
Danny, they used to call that 1 run in the 9th inning the jug run. So going for the jugular. It was a way that they felt like in the minor leagues to really just step on your opponent when they're down and kind of take the air out of any kind of fight they had left in the bottom of the 9th.
Fastball at 96, taken for a ball. Final hope, Johnny Peralta picked up an RBI back in the first. Single to left in the 5th. 1 hit tonight. Cardinals have been out hit 12-9. They trail 7-4. Game of major importance here for the Mets. Instead of dropping back 5.5, they could pull to within 3.5 with a win. The 2-0. 2 balls, 1 strike. They've got what you could call their ace going tomorrow in Jacob deGrom against Carlos Martinez.
Cardinals don't get anything going here with 2 outs. They're going to have to really step it up tomorrow and battle, like you said, one of the better pitchers in the league.
Here's a 2-1. Peralta hits it to short. This should do it. The Mets take game 1 by the final of 7-4. So again, the struggles continue at home for the Cardinals. They drop the opener of the homestand and of the series, the final 7-4. Reminder that the postgame show is coming up. Scott Warman, Al Hrabosky standing by at Ballpark Village. The Mets 7, the Cardinals 4. Remember, tomorrow on the air at 6:30. Postgame show comes your way next.